Sup guys, Heat King here, bringing you another live reaction to X-Men Dark Phoenix, or as it's called, Dark Phoenix, with the X-Men title, subtitle God. So yeah, very strange way of naming your movie, but a trailer for this has finally come out. There was a leaked trailer the other day, I did see it, but it was so blurry and shit that you couldn't really make out anything. But this is the official release, and I'm looking forward to this movie, so, because, you know, it's going to be the last one, and mostly because I don't hate the Fox X-Men movies like a lot of people do, because, you know, X-Men 1 at the time when it came out, what, in 2002, it was like the first proper serious sort of comic book film that we got. Yeah, there was Blade, sure, but no one ever brings up Blade because, you know, Blade was kind of forgetful, to be honest, until Blade 2 came out. So yeah, X-Men 1, it wasn't that bad for what it was. X-Men 2, holy crap, I remember seeing that in cinemas. That was amazing, and it still is today. That's a movie that holds up very bloody well. X-Men 3, yeah, that was a huge disappointment. I mean, there's so many things to get into with that movie. I mean, the music was good, the scene in Jean's house and the mind battle between her and Xavier was kind of cool, and the forest fight with Wolverine. But besides that, you didn't have a lot of other memorable moments. I mean, I do like the part when all 6 of the members like are standing there, like trying to protect everyone at the end. Like you get that moment on the island, on Alcatraz Island. But other than that, the rest of the movie was it basically sucked. But then we ended up getting X-Men Wolverine Origins, and that was even worse. So yeah, you know, if someone asks me which movie is worse, X3 or that, I usually go for Origins, because the only saving grace, the only decent thing about that movie is leaving, I don't even know the actor, the guy who played Sabretooth in that movie, who did a much better job than the first one did. And then we ended up getting X-Men First Class, and holy shit, that was a movie that I think a lot of us assumed was gonna suck, but it ended up being so bloody good, and Michael Fassbender was just amazing as Magneto. Just a great way to sort of reboot the franchise and give it a new slick look, a new feel, and yeah, it was just perfect. And then X-Men Days of Future Past / the role card, you know, Bryan Singer coming back and redeeming himself after, you know, not being there for X3 and bringing it all together, like boom. That was sort of like the Avengers of the X-Men series, and yeah, that came out after we got the Avengers, blah blah blah. But still, not a reboot technically, and not a complete overhaul reboot, because think about it, at the time when that movie came out, we got the Amazing Spider-Man series, I believe, or I believe the Amazing Spider-Man series was... No, we did have the Amazing Spider-Man series still then. What happened after that? We ended up with... Oh, before that we ended up with the Wolverine, and I saw the extended cut before I saw the normal version. I've never even seen the normal version. I've only seen the extended unrated cut, and that movie was glorious. I loved it. It was better than Wolverine Origins. It redeemed the Wolverine in my eyes. Great. First Class Wolverine, excellent films. Followed by Days of Future Past. Boom. Boom. It fixed like a lot of the problems that we had. Like, you can't sit there and say these movies are bad when those last 3 films that came out were really, really entertaining and good. And then what happened afterwards, we ended up with Logan, which was good. A bit overrated, mind you, but it was still a good film. And Deadpool and Deadpool 2, fun movies that sort of get the character right, and Ryan Reynolds, great films. X-Men Apocalypse, I didn't hate it. I just thought it wasn't as good as the other ones, but there were a lot of decent moments in that movie. The whole Apocalypse moment when he takes control of Xavier's mind, the Quicksilver sequence, the Wolverine sequence, the whole final battle when I'm trying to get out, Magneto's storyline and him redeeming himself, and the whole ending, and as it ties back into the first movie and the other films, like, it felt like a good ending sort of to get off there. But then of course they did set up the Dark Phoenix storyline again, and I want to see it. And I did like the young actors that they got to play the roles of Cyclops, Jean, Nightcrawler and the others, so I didn't mind it at all. I'm not a hater, do you understand? Not all the movies were great, but really, when you sit down and think about it, the only shit ones, the only real bad ones were X3 and Wolverine Origins, and the only okay ones were X-Men 1 and Apocalypse, and then the rest of it was good. X-Men 2, First Class, Days of Future Past, Wolverine Extended Unrated Cut, Logan, Deadpool, Deadpool 2. That's 7 good films out of 11 movies that were out of 11 movies basically. So don't give me the shit that these movies are bad. They're not. Am I excited that Marvel's gonna get these characters? Yeah. But to be honest, I care more about them getting Fantastic Four, because that is being butchered to death like 3 to 4 times now. So I'd rather they get that and fix that than X-Men, because X-Men has been fine. Okay, that didn't have to reboot itself 20 bloody times the way like Spider-Man did, for example. I mean, those films came out at the same time, and X-Men is still going, where Spider-Man's like reboot and then another reboot. Yeah. Just annoying. You get my point? Okay, now that I've discussed that, let's go and see the new trailer then. Let's see what this movie has for us in store. 1, 2, 3, starting now.
You think you can fix me?
Jean, you are not broken.
Flashback. Cool. This is the end. How fitting.
The mind is a fragile thing. Takes only the slightest tap to tip it in the wrong direction.
Is this like a callback to X-Men 3? I hope not.
Charles, what did you do?
I had to keep her stable.
Oh, so they are sort of going back.
her.
They're sort of going back that route
From the
then.
truth?
The truth. She killed her parents by accident?
There's another word for that.
Is that what he did instead of the whole
I came looking for answers.
goes to Magneto?
You feel like you don't belong here. You don't. They
She's
can't begin
Skrull.
to comprehend what you are.
Quicksilver, Storm,
She's changing.
And what?
into a
You
god.
come here looking for answers. You came here looking for permission. Jean. She's all rage, pain.
I like
It's
it.
all coming out at once.
This whole space sequence.
Jean
almost-
lost control, but she's still our friend.
This is your fault, Charles. The world is on the brink. I'm sorry I didn't stop it sooner. You're always sorry, Charles. And there's always a speech. And nobody cares. There's still hope. Don't do this.
I hope they don't make Magneto bad again.
They're
It'll be
right to
annoying.
fear me.
Who dies?
I've seen evil. And I'm looking at it now.
That was a decent first trailer. I liked it. It's got a very serious, dark vibe. Music was excellent, was fitting. There's definitely a more focus on the emotional aspects of the movie and less on the action like Apocalypse tried to advertise, because if there's one thing the X-Men films get a lot right, it's the emotional aspects of the series. Like when you think about it, X-Men 2 for example and X-Men Days of Future Past, they sort of concluded not with action moments but with emotional moments, if that makes sense, and they're much stronger for it. Whereas First Class did have an emotional moment, but it did also try to be an epic sort of action film, if that makes sense, and Apocalypse tried to go that same route. And while I did like the team teaming up to take on Apocalypse, it wasn't as powerful as it could have been, if that makes sense. With this film I can kind of see them trying to go in that more direction, more of that emotional focus, if that makes sense, that emotional conflict. And I'm liking the focus on Jean and Charles. Now it looks more like Charles tried to hide the truth of what she did. She probably finds out, powers manifesting for more. I hope they don't go the whole X-Men 3 route where you try to keep it contained. I would hate that, but unless they make it better than what they originally tried to do with that. Magneto in this basically saying that she's evil. That makes me think. It makes me think he tries to kill her instead of trying to control her. From what I've heard, this movie tries to do the opposite of what X-Men 3 did. So for example, we are going to get a scene with Jean, like, sort of getting making sure that Cyclops doesn't blast and sort of fixing his eyes, but she doesn't kill him. Or there's a moment where she tries to kill Xavier, but instead someone else actually ends up dead or impaled, which may be Mystique, and I'm gonna go with Mystique because I don't think I saw her at the funeral, so I think she's gonna die. Plus Jennifer Lawrence isn't a huge fan of wanting to work on these movies anymore, and if you had to kill one character off to sort of get Xavier to get to a certain point where he has to make a decision, especially with Beast and all that, it makes sense for it to be Mystique, because that will definitely change the attitude and develop the attitude of those two Pacific characters. Maybe even Storm as well, because Mystique is supposed to be a hero, and maybe even Magneto, since he had that relationship with her. So yeah, I'm curious to see if that's what they're gonna go with, and yeah, I'm just hoping this movie is really good, and I'm hoping it's a good send-off to this series, because, you know, it's been with us since 2002, for Christ's sake. Since 2002. This has gone longer than the Avengers, it's gone longer than Spider-Man at the time, do you know what I mean? Like, it deserves to have a decent ending, and if they're trying to redeem themselves after screwing up so badly with X-Men 3, because that's where the sort of the downhill started at the time, I'm hoping this movie manages to be better than that. I'm not looking for a great film. I'm not even looking for a good film. I just want an okay film, if that makes sense. Just a decent sort of epilogue type of movie, not a big action epic. That's what I want. Anyway guys, I hope you like my reaction to that and my explanations and stuff, and as always, like and subscribe, whatever, and I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care and bye.